Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from the healthyamerican.org live streaming. It is Tuesday, August 22nd, 2023. Title of the video is Here We Go Again. And here we go again. This is a restart because I had a couple of interruptions in my last live stream. That's okay. The second time is actually better because I have heard from so many of you that have been sending me information and asking me to talk about this potential of the government telling people that they have to suffocate themselves. And here we go again, that somehow some mysterious, invisible cooties, as I call it, is going to cause mayhem and a catastrophe. And I see this as another sloshing of the hogwash all over us. For the last going on 4 years, I have been coming here on this channel to help people live in liberty. And one thing that has troubled me over many of the years, and I do understand the comment from people saying, we need one unified, organized organization to fight this from the top down, unifying everyone. And that doesn't work. It never works. That's really like communism, all right? When you think about a system where it's a collective. What works is each individual taking action. And there are people that don't know how to stand up for their rights. They don't know how to stand up for themselves. They may not want to rock the boat, and they kind of complied and went along with everything for the last couple of years. And there are others that actually believe in all of this. They believe that the suffocation devices work. And that's fantastic. So if they believe that the suffocation device works, then it works. Then nobody else has to wear one. Because if you are wearing a raincoat, then you are dry. Why do I have to wear a raincoat to keep you dry? It doesn't make sense. And maybe I like to be out in the rain and I want to be wet. And maybe the raincoat doesn't fit, and maybe it's a little itchy, and maybe I don't want to wear one. So why would I have to wear a raincoat to keep you dry in the rain? It doesn't make sense. It never has, and it never will. But for those that feel safer by having a piece of plastic, basically that's what it's made out of, over your nose and mouth, yeah, okay, go ahead and do it. You know, I was a lifeguard in my younger days. I was a swimming instructor, and I took CPR. And in the CPR class, let me know if you're a first responder, EMT, or anything. The first thing they tell you, it's called ABC. And guess what? You check the airways. There are 2 airways, your nose and your mouth. And the hogwashers are telling us that we're supposed to cover those 2 airways for our safety. It's so sad that people actually believe that. And I've heard all of the arguments. You're going to tell me, well, what about the surgeons? Well, are you a surgeon? I mean, I don't think the grocery store clerk is a surgeon, and I don't think the flight attendant is a surgeon. And those surgeons, as I've been told, didn't always wear those, by the way. And when they did, they put them on in a sterile environment, and they were changed every 30 minutes because they begin to collect bacteria and gunk and all of that. And they never were used to prevent the spread of cooties. They were used so that they don't drool into the patient's open cavity, or that some blood or something doesn't spurt up into their mouth or nose. So I think that has been debunked a lot of times already. But for those that may not know that, I think a lot of people thought that they were doctors, like they put the thing on and then they thought they were saving lives because that's what the news said. And of course, you can't doubt the news. The news is always right. So thank you to all of you honorary doctors for suffocating yourself over the years. Did it work? It worked, right? You didn't need to do anything. Oh, what's that? Oh, you needed to still have a nasal assault to see if you were sick, even though you didn't have symptoms. Well, that's an easy one. You have a right of no violation of your body. That's called assault. All right. Battery, it's assault and battery. Assault is the threat of violence. So if somebody's getting all big and up into your face and, you know, clenching their fist and it's a heated conversation, that's assault, because you don't know whether in one split second there could be battery. Battery is the physical, in something that's inflicted upon you. So having your body raped by this Schwab, so to speak. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. And I never have. I've never gone along with any of it because I live in liberty. So that gets back to my main point. You don't need to do anything other than you decline. You don't consent. And I've lived through these years and I have never participated in any of it at all. And I've made choices that align with my values of truth and freedom. So if we talk about truth, the truth is I have the right to breathe and you have the right to breathe. And I don't breathe through my eyeballs or my elbows or my feet. So there's no such thing as equating this to no shoes, no shirt, no service, and that a business can kick you out if you're not suffocating yourself. A business cannot create a policy that violates my rights. A business and your employer at the woke place cannot have a policy that you are tattooed with their logo. Your business cannot have a policy that all pregnant women must kill their babies in the womb. It's illegal. You cannot do that. So having a business policy that you have to suffocate yourself and restrict your only two airways, as I started to say, as a lifeguard, it's ABC, airways, breath, circulation. So the number one, are the airways clear? Now, you might not remember, but I sure do. Back in the day when people used to go to the dry cleaner and they would bring their clothes home from the dry cleaner, and the dry cleaner bag had a warning on it that said, keep out of the reach of children because of danger of suffocation. Now, it would be very tragic if some little baby was playing with a dry cleaner bag. I never really heard of that before. But the point being, you don't want to have plastic over your nose and mouth. Guess what those blue and white devices are made out of? Polypropylene. You know what that is? Yeah, it's plastic. So isn't it weird? I mean, you wouldn't think that the government would like recommend something like plastic over your nose and mouth as if it's good for you. That would be like the government recommending, I don't know, that we get rid of CO2, which is the molecule of life. That would be weird if somehow we were told that CO2 was a pollutant when it actually helps people and the planet thrive. That would be weird, wouldn't it? It's just as weird as having something inserted. Now, I've never done it, but those of you that have told me that it went like all the way up to your, nasal brain barrier. And that little area there, if that is damaged, that does result in brain damage. It can damage because your olfactory nerve is there. Your olfactory nerve has to do with your ability to smell things, of course. Isn't it interesting that they said that this mystery disease would take away your ability to smell, but they never related it to having something jammed up your nose that could damage that olfactory nerve? I'm sure that's not related whatsoever. That olfactory nerve has to do with your ability to regulate your emotions. And also it helps with memory. So think about people that had the plastic over their nose and mouth for all these years in the grocery store and on the planes and at the doctor's office and all of that. You wouldn't think that that would lead to any kind of, I don't know, brain damage or maybe emotional imbalance. Did you ever see anybody like fly off the handle when they were suffocating themselves? I'm sure that never happened, that they were outraged or threatened you with battery or assault, or maybe that you even were assaulted by one of these suffocated maniacs. So here's what you need to do. You don't do it. You just don't do it. It's astounding how many people emailed me and said, you know what, Peggy, I took your advice and I went into CVS and I didn't wear the suffocation device and I did my shopping and I left. So many people went along with this because they were afraid. Frankly, that's what it all boils down to. They were afraid. I don't even have to say anything more. They were afraid to rock the boat. They didn't want anybody to say anything to them. They wanted to fly under the radar. And I will just say, for the men out there that went along with it, now I'm going to excuse all of you that actually believe it works. And if you're in that category, God bless you. Wear it, wear 2 or 3 if you want. And that's your belief. go on along your merry way. I don't think there's anything I can offer to you of help. But for those of you that are like, you know what, I didn't realize that it wasn't a law. I thought that I had to do it. And then you came along and you were like, oh, I guess there is no law that I have to suffocate myself. Yeah, there's no law. There never can be. But then you still keep doing it. That troubles me. And I will just say, especially if you're a man. And the reason why is because personally, for me as a woman, I look to men as the protectors, as the defenders, as the providers. Men physically, biologically, the way that God has designed them, they are stronger than women. And if somebody was going to beat me up, I would hope that a man would step up and protect me. So that's just me. So when I see a man with the suffocation device on, it's really hard to take. It really makes me look at somebody who is weak-minded, weak in the spirit, weak in resolve. And it's kind of stomach turning. I remember in the early days, I remember doing some lives on my phone in the parking lot, like of a grocery store, just looking at all of the men that would have this thing in their pocket because it's so sanitary, and then take it out and then put it on right before going in the store, not even trying to stand up for themselves, not even be ready to take the hits like I did. And frankly, there weren't that many to take. I did get kicked off the plane. I never went on a plane wearing one. I did get kicked out of the community pool. But aside from that, I'm still standing. And I don't care. I'll take the hits because I respect myself and my choices. And even if they came out with a magic device that somehow prevented illness and allowed people to live to be 120, I wouldn't do it because I dishonor God. And I know that because the Bible actually says in, I believe it's the book of Corinthians, chapter 7, verse 8. It's been a while since I've quoted that, but it definitely says that you are to stand before the Lord with your face unveiled. And by doing so, you increase your glory in him. Now, I don't even need a Bible verse to tell me. There are lots of Bible verses about the only ones that cover their faces are prostitutes and those that hide from God in shame. It's kind of common sense, robbers wear them. And it was so bizarre that my bank had a sign saying you had to wear the suffocation device, but you had to remove your sunglasses and a hat. I guess they wanted to see your identity. Anyway, I never did any of it. And I went into the bank and I did everything. Now, granted, I lived in Orange County. Many of you are in Los Angeles, which is trying to institute this again. But I was willing, and I am willing to do whatever it takes to live in liberty. So I honor God by breathing his breath of life, and I will not obstruct it. And I haven't, and I don't plan on doing it. I'm not going to do it. Regardless of the cost, regardless of the choices, just know that it is a choice. If you are interested in, oh my gosh, I have so many videos on this channel about how to get medical care without discrimination, about how to go for a job interview without getting the jab, about how your adult children can get into college without becoming a human pincushion. I've got so much on this channel, absolutely free. We are going to be doing some classes weekly or maybe every other week for those of you that want to do more of a deep dive on how to stand up for your rights. These classes will be free, absolutely free. Registration will be required because it will be on a Zoom and it will be private so that it's not on this public platform. Those of you have asked how you can donate. We will let you know as well, but it will be absolutely free because I want you to have all of the resources you need to stand up against this tyranny, and especially a welcome on board to those of you that didn't know over the last couple of years. And then you opened your eyes, you woke up and you said, this ain't right. I welcome all on board. The very airlines that kicked me off, Southwest, I helped thousands of their employees for free. And I helped them keep their jobs without the jab, because once they got a taste of what discrimination is like, then they realized that what they had done was wrong. So when it comes to the government's authority to tell you what to do, they don't have any. All right. That's why they put it on the businesses. The government didn't have the right to tell you to become a pincushion. That's why they put it on the schools. The government didn't have a right to tell you not to breathe oxygen. That's why they put it on the restaurants and the grocery stores. And those restaurants and grocery stores and airlines and all, they got probably hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, all told, they got billions of dollars. Each individual company, I don't know how much they got, but they got a lot. And they got it a couple of times over the last couple of years in the CARES Act and in the American Rescue Plan. It's so sad. It's like blood money and hush money. And they got that with strings attached. And they probably never paid it back. And sadly, a lot of these so-called freedom fighters that ran businesses, they took this money. All right. I didn't take a penny, not a penny. And I never will, because I'm not going to be a part of that. So when you feel sorry for the restaurants that were closed and all, find out how much money they took from the federal government in order to close. Just saying, things are not always as they appear. For those businesses that actually did stand up and did not take the money and took the hits, I applaud you, and I am here for you. The only authority the federal government has is over interstate and international travel. The federal government does have some, I would say, questionable legal authority to restrict who comes into the country based on their medical condition. So if you're flying in on a plane or a cruise ship, and it turns out that somebody on that flight is sick and they quarantine that person, they actually have the right to do that in our federal laws. That's because it has to do with controlling international entry and even exit, I believe. And there are a lot of, let's say, there are some civil rights built into that in terms of if you're going to be quarantined, the way that you have to be treated, and you also have the right for a judge to, break you out. So there are some deeper layers to that, but I'm just painting a big picture for you to let you know that the president doesn't have any authority over your life. The governor has no authority over your life. The only way your behavior can be restricted is through laws, and that is spelled LAW, and that is passed by your state legislature. The federal government passing any laws has no effect in your own state. That's why a lot of people left California and New York and Connecticut and New Jersey and Oregon and Washington and Illinois, because they were the worst states. People left the freedom states of Florida and Tennessee and Oklahoma and Texas, although I hear that's kind of turning a little purple, as they say. Let's see, where else did they go? Idaho. They left for freedom because those states are not requiring this kind of hogwash. Now, I'll leave on a personal story where someone I know had to go to a medical facility today, and they were very concerned because on their phone, it said, you have to suffocate yourself in order to be seen by the doctor. This caused a lot of distress and anxiety for my friend. And that's part of their terror as well, is to psychologically wear you down so that you think you have no other choice. And my friend was completely prepared with the paperwork and decided that, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to go in breathing oxygen and take the hits. And that's exactly what happened. No one in that medical facility was self-suffocating at all. Even in California, people are downright sick of it. I cannot imagine, let me know if you're a flight attendant, I cannot imagine any flight attendants going back to this hogwash, or the pilots, or anyone else for that matter. I think it is a weak attempt for them to continue to trot out this lazy, there's another part to that expression, this attempt to control people. And it's so ridiculous that they called this new variant, what is it? E or B, E, G, 5, like 5G. I mean, come on. I like it. My friend David Avocado Wolf said it's called, the new variant is called BS 24/7. I call it hogwash. All right, friends, that's what I've got for you. I want you to be encouraged. You don't have to go along with this. Just continue to live your life. If somebody asks you to do that, just say, show me the law. Where is the law? Well, it's our policy. Well, your policy doesn't trump my rights. And then you can start videotaping them, just whatever, go to a different place. I mean, at this point, why would I want to fight to give money to somebody that wants me to suffocate myself? Doesn't make sense. As far as these colleges go, we have all sorts of remedies and resources and strategies and solutions. You just don't go along with it. Find a different place. I'm skeptical about why young adults are even going to college anyway. All right, signing off for now. I do want to bring you a second video. I've got some interviews with the Maui fire chief, and some things, again, just don't add up. Thank you for being on board, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you in the very next video. Always go over to thehealthyamerican.org. Before I sign off, let me show you what you want to do is, some of you said, I can't find your videos, Peggy. Well, they're all there. And here's what you're going to do. All right, here's our live stream. And you are going to click on The Healthy American right there. That's going to take you to my channel. And I'm streaming live, right? So you need to click on live to see all of my videos. If you're at the home page, they're only going to show you like 3 or 4 videos. Even if you go to the videos page, that's where I upload them. So the last one was like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. You're saying, Peggy, I don't see any of your videos. Here's the answer. Click on live. There they are. Oh my gosh, tons of them. I have been broadcasting like 2 or 3 times a day. So there's so much for you to see. And then the other thing is, what's really great is you can click on, they have this feature called playlist. And when you click on playlist, you can find like my Maui fire playlist. You can find out all about the medical exemptions. I have it all categorized for you. And it says 300 videos. I have had well over 1,000. YouTube took some of them down. I took some of them down so I wouldn't get a strike. They all live over at peggyhall.tv, and most of them are on BitChute. A great number of them are on Rumble and Brighteon. And I also want you to join me over at my Instagram page. I don't really have that many videos there, but what I do have are a lot of fun memes and things that you can just scroll through, comment, share. So I thought this was kind of funny. Hurricane Hillary, we will rebuild. Basically, that's what happened in California. And then some of these, I do have some short clips, and then just a lot of information, infographics, and memes that you can send, comment on, and help to get the word out. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much. I do appreciate you being on board. Big shout out to the moderators, and give me just a couple of minutes. I'm going to queue up my Maui fire chief interview footage, and we'll take a look at that together.